As we go into meditation, I invite you to close your eyes. Let the peace of God rule in your hearts. We all wish to live joyously so that whatever we do may be done heartily and with enthusiasm. All the life, all the vitality, all the energy, and all the enthusiasm there is flowing through us, flowing out into action in everything we do, say, and think. I invite you now to contemplate this thought as we go into the silence. The peace of God rules and guides my heart. Please bring your attention back to this moment. Knowing that God, the divine energy of all, the holy creator of everything, is all there is. All the life, the vitality, and the energy, limitless and available. And so I know, because of these beautiful principles and qualities of the holy essence of the cosmos, because of that, everything today unfolds perfectly. This day, throughout the day, throughout the night, and so on. Free, unlimited joy. So happy, so fulfilled. And I am absolutely grateful from the depths of my heart for all that transpires here in this service, here in the sanctuary at home, that it reaches out and touches the hearts of all who are here and all who are online and all beyond into the world and into the universe. What a beautiful echo of love resounding through the heart. What a perfect, resonant energy is this peace that rules in the heart. So giving thanks for what transpires here today, for the words of wisdom spoken by Reverend Jerry, for the beautiful music that comes forth from Cahill and Delene, for the wonderful technology that we have. Thank you, Martin. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being the heart. And so I know this is good. I call it good, and so it is. And so now, let us bring back the beautiful music and wonderful energy of Cahill and Delene.
Oh, thank you, Sylvia. And that was
Thank
a
you, Sylvia.
beautiful meditation and invocation. Thank you.
The song we're going to do is on our CD. It's written about a man we actually knew, but it could be about anybody that you know, admire, and love, and who was a mentor in your life. This is called A Most Extraordinary Man.
A most extraordinary man. A most extraordinary man. He walked across the land, touched us without hand. The inner flame was fanned from a place so far away, a higher space, a different day, to find the inner truth. He sacrificed his youth until at last he knew he was a father and a mother, a sister and a brother, all things good to all who understood or tried to understand. This most extraordinary man, this most extraordinary man. He wasn't rich or tall, by some he measured small, but that was hardly all. In many ways like me and you, the ones his gaze could see right through. And so we have begun the road that leads to one that he had long since run. He was a father and a mother, a sister and a brother, all things good to all try to understand this most extraordinary man. He was a father and a mother, a sister and a brother, all things good to all who understood or tried to understand this most extraordinary man, this most extraordinary man, this most extraordinary man. Ooh. Barry wrote that one.
Beautiful song. Thank you guys very much. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, and welcome. Great to have you with us today. So when I was with you 2 weeks ago, if you were here or listened to the recording, you might remember I talked about the river of life and the opportunity for us to do, be, and have more. More financial abundance, more health, physical health, more love in our relationships, more stuff. And using the word stuff rather loosely to describe whatever works for you, that's okay. And we have a bookstore and we have Amazon, and if you're like I am, you have what might look like a bookstore in your house of books about how to expand our financial prosperity and how to expand our physical health and our relationships and to do, be, and have more and all the rest of that. And that's wonderful. But this morning, I want to talk about something we don't talk about, and that has to do with being radically content. What if there's enough? What if there's enough money? What if there's enough physical health? And most importantly, what if we are enough? So my topic, I have 4 or 5 different topics this morning that I'm going to merge into one, I promise, by the time we finish. But my main topic is naturally divine and what's not to love. What's not to love? A quote from The Science of Mind textbook. There is that within every individual which partakes of the nature of the universal wholeness, and insofar as it operates God. And since it partakes of the nature of the divine being, we are divine. So I was thinking about me, and I was thinking about you and us, and being reminded that each of us, and thank the universe, each of us has our wonderful, unique talents and experiences and wisdom and what makes our heart sing and our tail wag and all the rest of that. I love to, as you might have noticed, I love the spoken word. And I love words, and I love speaking, and I love writing, and I love these things. I don't care so much for science and mathematics. Science in high school, I waited, because there's a required at least one semester of science, and so I waited and waited and waited and waited and waited, and finally in my senior year I took life science and was in a room with a bunch of freshman football players because they were taking their first science class, getting ready to take a bunch more. I was in my senior year and trying to get this out of the way so that I could move forward. Just don't do that. Some of my best friends are nurses. Thanks to the universe for nurses and people in the medical field, because they do things there is no way in this life or the next one that I would do or want to do. So how awesome is it that each of us have that which makes our hearts sing? Thank God for Cahill and Delene and your amazing music, because if I tried to do that, y'all would be running in the other direction, and all the dogs, including Morris, would be barking, because that's just not my gift. But it's somebody else's, and how wonderful that is. Because otherwise, we'd all be doctors, and we'd have no musicians. Or we'd all be musicians and have no doctors and no ministers and all the rest of that. So you get the point of that. So, and I've quoted him before and I will again, but remember The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And he starts out the book talking about our domestication and how we're born. And here we are, oh boy. The world revolves around me. Everyone is here to serve me. Everything is wonderful. And when I need something, I'm going to ask for it, probably at the top of my lungs. And this is how it is, and everything is wonderful, and everything is beautiful, and it's just no thing. And then we start to get domesticated, and we start to learn how it is, and learn how it should be. And learned that, well, what do you mean the world doesn't revolve around me? No, sadly, it doesn't. If you come from traditional Christianity, you might remember the teaching about original sin and how Adam and Eve, and it was a sunny day in the Garden of Eden, 70 degrees, mostly sunny, a few scattered clouds, but no chance of rain because they didn't have that in the Garden of Eden. And everything is lovely, and then there was the thing with the serpent and the apple, and then they got booted out, if you take it literally, and I'm paraphrasing obviously. They got booted out of the Garden of Eden, and so we, the collective we, inherited that original sin. And so when a baby is born, gets smacked on the butt, and things start to go downhill from there because of this belief in that we're all born sinful. Now, it's been some number of years since I've been in New Thought, and probably for you as well, but do we still carry any kind of residue with us about that we're somehow that we're somehow wrong, that we're somehow bad, that we're somehow less than what we could be or should be? Or are we recognizing that we really are and always have been the essence, expression, and experience of Spirit, that we really are divine? Because we got those messages, and growing up you might have been told children should be seen and not heard. All those other messages about women, about wherever you came from, whatever your experience has been, do we carry that with us and start to have those assumptions and those beliefs that somehow we're less than what we could be or should be. My family was amazing. My family was loving and nurturing and welcoming, and all they wanted me to be was happy. But I carried the shoulds. My favorite word. Isn't that your favorite word? Yeah. You know, if we could take a word out of the dictionary and send it into space, that would absolutely be the one. But growing up, we should, and you might have come from a family that everybody was a doctor, and so you need to grow up and be a doctor. You need to grow up and do something, or marry someone, or get a college degree and do something. Well, but what if that's not what we had in mind? What if that's not what made our hearts sing? What if we were, and to extend that, what if we were the black sheep, or in some cases, the rainbow sheep? You've heard that expression about being the black sheep. And in case you haven't, or just as a review, the black sheep is a member of the group or family regarded sometimes as a disgrace, an embarrassment, a ne'er-do-well, the odd one out. Black sheep in pre-industrial days were not as valuable as white sheep because, and quite possibly because, white wool could be dyed into any color, whereas black wool could not. So if you had a black sheep, that sheep was not as valuable as a white sheep. So what if we were the black sheep in the family? If our choices didn't fit in with what it was assumed we'd do, if the color of our wool was different from everybody else's, did we carry that belief that somehow we're less than? And now, 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 or 70 years later, are we still carrying that belief somehow that we're not quite as divine as everybody else? Or do we recognize that because each of us is on our own path, there's nothing that can take away from this divinity? So we talked 2 weeks ago about we want more, and we have the bookstore full of books about greater prosperity and greater abundance and greater this and that, and we need to go and get the next degree. We need to go and take the next class. We need to go and get the better job and the better relationship and all the rest of that. And that's great. But is it okay to be okay? Is it okay to be exactly where we are? Is it okay to be radically content? So you've heard me say this before, and you will hear me say it again, that I love Facebook. And I love the technology that allows us to scroll, because there's stuff that I don't want to look at, and so I just keep scrolling. But every once in a while, there's some great new offering or new book. And one of the ones I found on Facebook is by Jamie Varon, Radically Content, Being Satisfied in an Endlessly Dissatisfied World. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's hardcover. So if this makes your tail wag, I invite you to go on Amazon and take a look at that. But in the book, and I have a couple of fairly long quotes for us this morning, but I think I think you'll really like them, and they'll be really important. So a radically content life includes all my most honest dreams and desires, but doesn't delay the enjoyment of the present moment. A life that doesn't wait to earn my joy, relaxation, or health. A life that isn't out of balance, skewed in favor of trying to accomplish my way into self-worth. Let that sink in. I'll be okay as soon as. I'll be acceptable as soon as. In that sense, contentment is not about living without dreams or hopes, not complacency, not settling. It's about living fully expressed, not delaying my joy for the promise of some future check mark that society has told me to want. When you're content with where you are, it doesn't make you less motivated. It makes you motivated by the right things. Love, passion, enjoyment, genuine desire, and again, you aren't striving for worthiness. Being satisfied in my life as it is right here, right now, gives me open, fertile space to transform and grow. Achievement, dreams, accomplishment, all of that becomes the cherry on top of an already wonderful life. It's absolutely possible to be both ambitious and content. Right? Wow. We aren't striving for worthiness. How many of us look at our lives and say, I'm good, I'm pretty good, but I'll be really good as soon as I get the garage cleaned out, or as soon as I find the new job, or as soon as I find the new relationship, or as soon as my bank balance hits 7 digits, or whatever the case might be. Do we postpone our awareness of our divinity until something outside ourselves happens? Or do we recognize that in this moment, we are already worthy of whatever it is?
Great point.
Thank you. Do we keep getting stuff, keep buying stuff? Or do we allow ourselves to, and if you do, that's okay. That's why God made QVC and HSN and Amazon. Do you have the Amazon app on your phone? That was one of the, right? That was one of the, no, it wasn't a mistake of my life, but it's just, I'm thinking about this, or I'm talking about this. Gee, I wonder if Amazon has it. Click, click, and it magically appears. The nice people at Amazon bring it and drop it at the front door tomorrow because I have Amazon Prime. Dangerous, dangerous. Cool. Oh my God. Amazingly cool, but just, interesting. How are we with our enoughness? I didn't know that was a word, and then I was reading something, and they had that word published. So if I've used it and somebody else has used it, then it's a word, right? Go with me on that. But so often we start our days out with not enough sleep, not enough coffee, not enough time, not enough money, not enough patience, not enough, and then we become not enough, and we continue. And if you've had this experience, you know, the day continues in lack and struggle and not enoughness, versus if I don't get off the chair today, I am enough, because it has nothing to do with what I do and everything to do with who I am. And when I recognize that I am the beloved, there isn't anything that I have to do, because I'm already enough. So in the book, Jamie writes about settling. And that's an affirmation for us. I don't want to settle for McDonald's when I could have Olive Garden. I don't want to settle for this because when I could have this. But there's a difference between settling and settling in. And so I have one more quote for you from the book. We forget that if we're always afraid of settling, that means we're never settling in. Settling is not a place or a configuration of life, it's a feeling. when we have unspent dreams within us, when we aren't living honestly to our truest selves, when we are hiding parts of ourselves away, when we're neglecting to honor our deepest desires, that is a life that feels like settling. Where I think we get it wrong is when we ascribe a definition to settling that is based on someone else's life. And instead of living based on what feels most true to us, we think not settling is simply acquiring what that other person has. And when we use other people's definitions, we are taken directly out of our own life, out of our own truth. Because society gives us a map. A friend group gives us a map. Parents, children, church can give us a map. Everyone's trying to give us a map for how life should be and how, there's that word again, and how, what life looks like and what a success is and what we should do, be, and have. Paraphrasing slightly there. But if you don't create your own map, you'll follow someone else's path. When you follow that map, when you get all the things you thought you were supposed to have, when you fulfill their dreams and needs, when you sit there surrounded by the life that was supposed to make you happy, that can feel like settling. The life you most want is the one you decide on. Ever done that? Ever done? And then all of a sudden, someday, the divine discontent says, well, this was interesting. Let's get out of this and live the life we came here to live. Let's instead of settling for someone else's experience that we've adopted, let's settle in to this most amazing life that's really ours. So settling in to the life that I want, the relationship, the work, the experience, whatever it is. In the business world, and perhaps other places as well, there is an expression that is with them. What's in it for me? And if you're in sales, there has to be somehow, in all the sales training that I've been through, you have to be able to talk about the with them. So why should I buy that? Why should I do that? Why should I go there? There's got to be that with them. And it's so important for us to ask that of ourselves. When I think about this, when I feel this, when I do my affirmative prayer, my spiritual mind treatment, and accept this, is this really mine to do? Or am I doing this because somebody suggested, well, you should, or you need to, or whatever the case might be? Or is this mine to do? This radically content experience allows us to be content in this moment. I mean, life in La Mesa, Greater San Diego County, is pretty amazing. We didn't dodge thunderstorms to get here this morning. In a few months, we won't be shoveling the walkway to get the car out to be able to go to work or church. We pretty much can go and get whatever we need 24 hours a day. They sell wine in the grocery stores. Have you been to states where you've got to go, you can't buy it in the grocery store, you got to go down the street to go to the state-run liquor store to buy a bottle of wine? Ohio, yes, I was just in Cincinnati, yes. And no, sorry, Kroger and Meijer and all the rest of them, no, you can't buy alcohol or even beer and wine in the grocery store. You got to go to the state-run store. Not a big deal, but just recognition of this most amazing life that we have in Southern California. I think I went slightly off the subject. So in this experience of radically content, can we be content with the past? Or are we still carrying resentment and regret? I was in Cincinnati, of all places, last weekend and spoke at Unity of Garden Park. Absolutely wonderful congregation, amazing people. On Saturday, I hung out with the senior minister and her family and the board, and they live on kind of the side of a hill, and in the afternoon, we're watching, because weather, they have it some places, not here, but they have it some places. There was weather coming and moist weather. And then the clouds opened and it rained and it thundered. I know. And it lightninged and, I'm not sure if that's a word or not. It was amazing. You know, it's the little things that make our hearts sing. And they're like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Oh my God, I want to go out and run in the rain. It's so gorgeous." I will not, because I don't want to get struck by lightning. But it just was such a wonderful experience. But I did a workshop on a talk and a workshop on forgiveness. And allowing ourselves to be content with what happened. Forgiveness allows us to do that. Not forgetting, but forgiving. Forgiving allows us this radical contentment with the past. And content with the present. After we leave this morning, I'm going to go home to my wonderful place and kiss the dog. And life is good. Absolutely, life is good. So thinking about this concept that somehow we're not enough, that somehow we're less than, that somehow there's that old stuff that's kept us from being the essence, expression, and experience of spirit, there is always the opportunity to just let that go and to recognize already with our imperfections, we are perfect. Just exactly as we are. Exactly as we are. What do we say about all this? What do we say about ourselves? Because, you know, the universe listens and we listen to what we're saying. And if we get back into this old belief about not being enough, then life says, well, okay, I don't really have much of a choice, but I have to give you not enough because that's what you believe. And you might be familiar with one of my favorite quotes from Scientific Christian Mental Practice by Emma Curtis Hopkins. Right near at our hand is the heavenly city. While we have called it distant, could we expect it to be near? Right here, visible to us, is the heavenly land. Could we expect it to show us its beauties if we talk of it being invisible? Right now, you are wise and immortal, free, strong, and at peace. Can you expect to feel your true nature and delight in your estate if you keep talking and thinking of how little you know, how mortal flesh and blood are, and how unhappy you are? Spirit is truthful and takes us at our word. The Spirit supposes nothing. It believes all things. Spirit brings fountains of power to all words of I am and I will. So what do we say about ourselves? What do we say about our lives? Because the universe, Emma said so. The universe always says, oh, okay, there you go. So this afternoon, go clean out the garage, go clean the kitchen, go make the bed, go do the laundry, or go and sit down and watch Golden Girls. Whatever works for you, but your choice has absolutely nothing to do with your divinity and your belovedness. The mere fact of us, the mere fact of you, is that we are the beloved. So many people talk about learning to love themselves. And and I guess this is another Sunday talk that I won't go into this morning, but is what's not to love? What's not to love? In this opportunity for radical contentment, we love all of that. We are content with all of that, recognizing that everything that happened up until 10:47 on Sunday morning brought us to this point. And yes, we can make changes moving forward, but we can also be content with whatever it was. And those chapters in our life brought us to this point. So in this contentment, we get to decide how we're going to move forward and decide if what we're bringing with us, our physical possessions, as well as our memories and our judgments and our shoulds and all the rest of that, if all of that makes us content, makes us happy, makes our tails wag. And one of my other favorite books is Repacking Our Bags, Lighten Your Load for the Rest of Your Life by Richard Leader and David Shapiro. And they talk about our bag is what we're carrying with us on the trip. And it's the memories and the stories and the beliefs and the stuff, again, using a purely spiritual term, all the physical possessions, but all the beliefs and everything else. And one more quote for you this morning. Unpacking simply means taking a long, hard look at what we're carrying and why. Seeing if our possessions, relationships, work, and purpose are still helping us move forward or if they're dragging us down. Repacking, then, is the ongoing and continuous activity of reflection and choice. Rearranging our priorities, reframing our vision of the good life, and recovering a new sense of being alive. As we revisited packing in word and deed, it came into sharper focus than ever before that repacking is indeed a cradle-to-grave process, one that we must revisit regularly in order to keep growing. Maybe you, back in the day, had a large family and you cooked, and you have cooking tools and the big Cuisinart or the big KitchenAid mixer and all the pots and pans and all the rest of that, and you don't really do that anymore. At some point, it becomes clutter, and it's the opportunity to release that because in our contentment, we don't need that anymore. It's okay to lovingly release that, whatever that is, that no longer serves us. Or golf clubs, or the Peloton machine, or just whatever it is. If we use it to beat ourselves up rather than love ourselves, there's the opportunity to let that go. So why does it matter? It matters because life works better when we stay in joy and compassion and passion and excitement. Life works better when we stay in contentment, not that we don't want something new and better and greater, but that right here, right now, all is well. So I have one more quote, and then I'll close with a prayer. Oh, one more thing. So what's next for us? Frolic. Gratitude. Service, frolic, offering love, new hobbies, and frolic. Now, you might have noticed there's repeat here twice or three times, and how important it is for us to recognize what that means for us and to act accordingly, because that's what we came here to do. So, in closing, My beloved child, break your heart no longer. Each time you judge yourself, you break your own heart. You stop feeding on the love which is the wellspring of your vitality. The time has come, your time, to live, to celebrate, and to see the goodness that you are. Do not fight, let go, and breathe into the goodness that you are. So with that in mind, join me in the light for just a moment. So in the peace and the quiet of this moment, we allow ourselves to consciously be aware of the chair underneath us, at least in this room, the air conditioning that keeps us cool and comfy, the beloved experience of dear ones. And for those of us on Zoom, we include you in this experience of beloved spiritual community. And so we come together in radical contentment, radically content for this most amazing life, recognizing that there's more, there's a possibility for more, greater good, greater wonder, greater experience. But in this moment, we offer gratitude for all that we have, all that we do, all that has been, and all that we are. So we move forward, always consciously asking, is this mine to do? And then acting accordingly, acting from possibility, but knowing that there's nothing we need to do to be okay. Because right here, right now, in this moment, we are the beloved. For this spiritual community, for our opportunity to be together today, we give great thanks. Together we say, and so it is.
So it is.
Thanks, everybody.
And thank you, Reverend Jerry. Wow, that was a wonderful talk. That's going to keep us going all week long, and then some. Well, we're going to do another one of our songs. This is called I'm Listening, and it's on our CD as well. And it's about not only listening with our ears, but with our hearts as well, if not more. So sweetly, I've come here again for calm and serenity. Just open my senses and feel the earth's heart. I connect with this place in serendipity, 'cause I'm listening to all there is around me. I'm listening to escape the thoughts that have bound me. The world has greater secrets than I can even imagine. I'm learning and growing and loving, 'cause I'm listening. The words that I hear are not all that there is. There's so much more left unspoken. Now I will listen from my heart to yours, to realize our lives in synchronicity. 'Cause I'm listening to all there is around me. I'm listening to escape the thoughts that have bound me. The world has greater secrets than I can even imagine. I'm learning and growing and loving, 'cause I'm listening. Cause I'm listening to all there is around me. I'm listening to escape the thoughts that have bound me. The world has greater secrets than I can even imagine. I'm learning and growing and loving, 'cause I'm listening to all there is around me. I'm listening to escape the thoughts that have bound me. The world has greater secrets than I can even imagine. I'm learning and growing and loving, 'cause I'm listening. And I'm listening.